What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. In today's video we're going to take a look at the 2025 Honda Pilot. This one is the all-wheel drive TrailSport finished in platinum white. MSRP is $51,000. Big shout out to Flo Honda of Statesville for providing this new SUV for today's video. Take a look at their website linked down below. Underneath the hood of the 2025 Honda Pilot TrailSport, you're going to find the naturally aspirated 3.5 liter 6-cylinder motor. This V6 is pumping out 285 horsepower with 262 pound-feet of torque. It has a 10-speed automatic transmission, and this vehicle is all-wheel drive. Curb weight is around 4,700 pounds. It runs on an 18.5 gallon fuel tank, and you can expect 18 miles per gallon in the city with 23 out on the highway. The overall length is 200.2 inches with wheelbase at 113.8, height is 72, and width is 78.5 inches. And then max towing capacity is also 5,000 pounds. The TrailSport also has some off-road capabilities. You're going to notice approach angle is 20 degrees, ground clearance is 8.3 inches, and departure angle is 19 degrees. Now moving on to the styling with the 2025 Honda Pilot. This TrailSport definitely is a pretty rugged looking SUV. It has a really cool blacked out design throughout. You're going to see the really nice LED headlights with an LED light up above. I love the dark housing fading into the black grille. You have massive mesh with a cool gloss color, forward-facing camera, massive safety sensor within the Honda name. You can see the TrailSport logo, and some black trim throughout the sides. You have a nice trim piece to allow some airflow around the front wheels, and then LED fog lights down below, parking sensors, just a little bit of plastic trim, and then you can see the silver color right in the center. More openings down below with active grille shutters to improve efficiency and aerodynamics when needed. And then I really like just how squared off and aggressive the front end of the new Pilot is. Definitely a pretty good looking crossover. Two sharp lines on the hood fading towards the windshield. Definitely a more squared off front end for sure with this design. At the side profile, you're going to see a really cool design for these split 5-spoke wheels. They even say TrailSport on them, finished in a gray color, and these are 18 inches in diameter. Have a nice all-terrain tire as well, great for tackling some light trails. And then a little bit of that plastic trim cuts its way into the fender arch as well as the lower rocker panel. Got a nice sharp body line throughout the lower portion of these doors, smooth lines throughout the side profile, and then one sharp line cutting from the hood and headlight into the doors. You're going to see the power folding side mirrors with the nice black color along with an integrated turn signal, gloss black on the door handles, and then all black trim surrounding the windows. You have a nice panoramic sunroof up on top with plastic black roof rails, and then for the side profile, this has a pretty good size to it. You can tell it's not that small. And then I like how that third window is kind of off in the middle of all the body color. So it has a pretty unique design, a little bit of a cool contour throughout that window as well, and then that sharp body line is more prominent over this rear wheel arch. In back, you got a nice set of red LED taillights with some halogen bulbs. Pilot is written out throughout the center in black with your Honda badge. Nice large integrated spoiler up on top. Then you're going to see all of your badging, some plastic for the rear bumper with the black and silver, parking sensors, your trailer hitch along with the connections, and then reflectors on the left side with that all-wheel drive badge. Nice sharp lines throughout where the license plate goes, cutting into the rear bumper as well, and overall comes together like a pretty cool looking SUV. Moving to the key fob, you get lock, unlock, remote start, and power tailgate. Honda badge on the backside, nice sleek key fob. Going ahead and locking the vehicle, you can see the power folding, and then just grabbing the handle, they'll unfold and you can take a look at the interior. This one's going to have a pretty nice black leather interior with the orange stitching all throughout it. If we take a look at the door panel finished off in black, you have this nice softer touch plastic material up above with a little bit of padding for the insert, some gloss black trim, release handle, memory seating, and then all of your different controls. You have a nice grab handle with more padding for the armrest and contrast stitching, and then tons of storage with two small cup holders, extra storage down below, and then all your power controls are on the left side of the seat. You can see more of the smooth black leather with all the contrast stitching. Pretty nice design overall. You can see up above, you have the TrailSport even embroidered into that headrest. Spinning around, you got a sporty looking 3-spoke steering wheel wrapped in leather. Then you can see more of that contrast stitching and dark color accents. And then now inside the 2025 Honda Pilot TrailSport, keep my foot on the brake. We can go ahead and fire it up. The V6 will roar to life. You're gonna see the Honda badge on the airbag cover, nice heated steering wheel icon, and then over on the left side, we have some Bluetooth and audio controls, and then a few controls for the center screen. You have cruise control settings on the right side, And then taking a look at the gauge cluster, you can see an analog speedometer on the right and then a nice digital screen on the left side with all sorts of information. If I hit the home icon, you can scroll up and down, going into all sorts of different information. Now you do have to tap the home icon every single time and then scroll, go into it. You can't just scroll in here. So unfortunately, you do have to tap that every time, which is a little annoying. But nonetheless, you still get all sorts of good information in here that you can take a look at. You can see on the right stalk, you're gonna have the windshield wiper control, and then on the left stalk, we have headlights and turn signals. There also are steering wheel mounted paddle shifters for the transmission. On the left side of the steering wheel, you're gonna see tailgate release. You also have traction control, heated windscreen, and then you can see one of the air vents and then this soft touch material for the entire dashboard. You're gonna see one of the air vents way on the one side, and then a lot of storage in here. Nice cubby up above the dash. More of this leather type material with the contrast stitching, making its way to the other set of air vents. And then Honda's infotainment screen, pretty nice and easy to use. It's really a simple screen overall. We have trip computer you're able to take a look at, going back home. Pretty good touchscreen as well with all sorts of different information on it. Phone integration down below, other touchscreen shortcuts. You have volume and track on this left side. And if I go ahead and put this into reverse, you got a really nice backup camera. You're gonna see the top-down view as well. You can adjust the view. You can see all those. We have different settings you're able to take a look at, which is a nice touch to see. Going ahead, tapping the P button, we can go back into park. Now, also on this right stalk, we have a camera icon. So if I go ahead and toggle that, you're gonna see the front view along with top-down view. Now you can see a good close-up of your wheels. You can also, of course, adjust a few of those. So pretty nice to see all sorts of different monitoring systems with this vehicle. Down below, we are gonna have physical climate controls. You have heated seats. You can sync your dual zone temperature, easily make all your adjustments. You have your fan speed in the center, and then you can easily toggle all the different zones. We also have the rear climate control you're able to adjust, heated side mirrors and the glass. And then down below, we have the rear on-off, rear settings you can adjust, and now further adjust all of that. Rear lock as well. A little bit of storage down below with some plugs on the right side, wireless phone charging, and more storage down there. Two different cup holders. And then for the gear selector, as you can see, we can tap the D for drive and then toggle that between the sport mode and the normal mode. Then we have, of course, neutral, reverse, and park. Behind all that, we have the auto start stop, downhill assist, and various drive modes. Being the TrailSport, you have quite a few. We have the sport, normal, and eco mode, then different off-road modes for snow, trail, sand, and then even your tow mode. So really nice to see all of that for this off-road capable SUV. Then just a little bit of plastic trim surrounding it, more of this nice black and contrast stitching material, and then a pretty good sized center storage. Over on the right side, you have a good sized glove box as well. And then one last look at the interior. Pretty nice interior. It's pretty simple overall, however it's nicely appointed, easy to use, pretty good use of storage, and a nice color combo throughout. You also have that massive panoramic sunroof up on top. There is a sunglass holder along with a mirror to see what the kids are doing behind you. Then you have all the controls for the glass, roof, and sunshade. Garage door buttons are also underneath your mirror. And then now moving on to the second row seat, grabbing the door handle, opening it up. The TrailSport is going to be a 7-passenger vehicle. On the rear door panel, you're going to get just some plastic here, a little bit of soft touch as well. And then there are going to be a nice set of manual sunshades. You can see extra storage all throughout the door panel as well, with a little bit of the padding for your armrests with that contrast stitching. We have levers and buttons on the left side of this rear seat, all the same materials with the contrast stitching and the smooth leather itself. And then you are going to notice the armrest, which will fold down, which is a great touch. Down below, you're going to get a little bit of a storage area, and then you can see climate vents, all those climate controls themselves. Then you have a few different plugs down below and storage behind all of these seats. So nice touch to see, even with a phone holder, which is a really cool feature. Now from here, taking a look at these buttons, if I just press this one, it'll slide that forward, angle the backrest, and give you a pretty good view walking into the back seats. And then on top of that, there's going to be the same button on the back side. Hopping into the second row now with the Honda Pilot. If I pull the manual recline lever and recline this, this is a pretty roomy seat. You can also grab the lever up in front, slide it forwards and back. So at 5'11" with the driver's seat at my height and having this reclined and slid back, there is a ton of space. I have like 8 inches of headroom, plenty of knee room and foot room. Armrests are in a great place as well. The seat bases do feel a little short on my leg, but of course, this is probably going to be used with kids, so honestly, kids are going to be perfectly fine back here. But overall, not a bad space to be. Definitely got a lot of room in here, and not a bad family SUV. So now hopping into the third row with the Honda Pilot. So there are air vents back here, which is a great touch. You're also going to see USB ports, 2 different cup holders, and then you're going to get all the same things on the other side. You can also recline the seats. There's a little strap. I can pull this and recline this a decent amount. If I go ahead and pull this seat back to where I had it, this is surprising, honestly. I am literally sitting here fine with good headroom, as you can tell, and knee room and legroom is pretty good. Bases are a little short, of course, but this is not a jumbo SUV, and yet the third row is totally useful. Big window as well, a little bit of plastic trim around it, but nonetheless, this seems like a pretty good third row, especially having captain chairs. You can sprawl out a little bit, get some extra comfort. So 6 people, honestly, no issues in here. Even the 7th person in the middle, as long as they're a little smaller, not too bad. And then from here, you can just press this button, get that seat out of the way, and I can easily climb right out. Moving on to the cargo area, just grabbing the button underneath the Honda logo. You're gonna get that power liftgate opening up. With the third row up, you can get a good idea of the recline angle that you're able to do, which is a really nice touch to see. Pretty good amount of storage space back here for a couple bags, honestly. Nice cubby on the left side, small one on the right, and then you can even lift up the floor and you have a lot of hidden storage. Spare tires are gonna be underneath the car as well. And then from here, you can pull these, and this is going to pull the headrest down, and then you can let that fall all the way flat. So really easy to operate these seats. And then of course, to pull them back up, you're just gonna grab those straps. With the second row up, you can get a good idea of all the cargo space. And then to operate the second row, you are gonna have to go through the second row seat and just pull this recline lever, and that's gonna fold nice and flat. So pretty simple manual controls for this car. And with the second row down, you can see just how much more storage space the Honda Pilot is gonna offer. So it definitely makes for a very practical vehicle. From there, you just press the button, and you can automatically close down the power liftgate. All right, so setting off now in the Honda Pilot TrailSport. So in the parking lot, one thing I'm noticing already, the steering is incredibly lightweight. There is literally no effort to turn this steering wheel. It does make this car feel a little floaty. Now this is their more off-road focused one. Obviously it's no hardcore off-roader, but this is the one that's gonna have a little bit softer suspension and easier maneuverability when hitting some trails and things like that. So when you are getting up to some speed, you can tell it's a little floaty. Once again, there is some body roll, a little vague on the steering. So if you're doing a lot of highway driving, things like that, to where you're never actually gonna go on any sort of off-road adventure, I would stick with like a touring model or something more street focused. This one definitely shows its weaknesses on the road, given it has the off-road capabilities. When you are getting up to some speed, you can tell it's a V6. It sounds like one. Nothing crazy fast, you know, we're not like redlining it or anything being a brand new engine, but it gets up to speed fine. A little bit of delay in the transmission letting it shift, but nonetheless, this is going to be a very robust powertrain and just kind of old school when most other competition are going to turbo 4 cylinders and CVTs. So it's nice to see a normal transmission. The drive modes, they don't really do a crazy amount. The sport mode now is going to let it rev a little bit higher, giving you a little bit more throttle. So giving it some speed now. It'll rev a little bit higher just to utilize the power band. Overall comfort, given it has an off-road tuned suspension, this is very soft. It does float over bumps, and I mean, you have a really good view out. It feels like a pretty big SUV, honestly. Like I mentioned, this kind of feels like a Dodge Durango in size, and when you're in it, it feels like almost a jumbo SUV, but not quite. You're definitely high up. You have a huge windshield, good visibility overall. Mirrors do a pretty good job. The window looks a little on the small side back there, but you know, you can still see around very well. Of course, looking over your right and left shoulder, I mean, plenty of space. So it's a roomy, big vehicle with good visibility. You can tell the front is a little farther away, so it might take just a little bit getting used to pointing this car and like parking it, things like that, just making sure you know where this vehicle sits. But nonetheless, it does make for a very roomy interior. I mean, I have so much room in here. The seats themselves are really padded, really comfortable, and it's a pretty easy car to get used to. Materials are pretty good, everything you touch and feel. I love the physical climate controls. It just makes it simple. Even the screen, while it's not really all that fancy, it has all the information you're gonna need, and it's just easy to operate. So my honest thoughts now with the 2025 Honda Pilot. So in general, this is definitely a roomy SUV. This is gonna be a really good family vehicle. And you know, if you don't go for this trim level, easy mid $40,000 car, which is not bad for a full-size 3-row SUV. And the good thing with that is it has the space of maybe something that's a jumbo size like a Sequoia or a Suburban or something like that, but you're not paying $70,000. So I think they've done a really good job giving you something that is actually a big SUV without really breaking the bank. This is a pretty average price point vehicle in today's market. Now the TrailSport in general, obviously I'm not taking it off-road, I can't really capitalize on what this specific trim level has. However, you know, when you look at the tires, the ground clearance, things like that, all-wheel drive system, having a robust V6 and a real transmission with gears, this is going to be easy to go up some fun mountain trips and kind of take this on an adventure, on a weekend camping trip, even trailering maybe a small utility trailer, a small camper, or even a small boat, you know, somewhere else. So you can take this places that maybe you wouldn't normally expect a vehicle like this to go. So I think they've done a cool job with the TrailSport. The biggest sacrifice, if you truly are using this like as your daily and you just bought this one because it's cool looking, you are going to sacrifice just the ride. It's a little just floaty and vague, I would say. So hard turns, if you're going to be making a lane change on the highway, it's going to be a little wobbly feeling. So just keep that in mind. And if you don't really necessarily need the adventure, stick with a touring model or something a little bit more street focused. But that's the only complaint, I would say. Not really a complaint, just because this specific trim is not designed to be just a pavement princess. This is supposed to be an adventure family SUV, and it certainly is going to have those capabilities. I like the sizing, the comfort. I mean, really, you could just sit in here, have this thing loaded up, and nobody's going to have a bad seat. It's really comfortable. And one of my favorite things, I think, with these, I'm not really too familiar with Hondas, actually. This is the first couple of times I've been able to check out Hondas. But I like how simple the tech is. I'm not a fan of a lot of cars going to everything integrated into the screen. Honda has almost made this screen just your typical old school screen where it has the nav, the cameras, a lot of the settings within the car, but physical layout for the climate just makes it so much better. I think more cars just need that. It looks fine in here, it's got its own little screen, and it's just easy to control all the different zones, passenger, rear, view. I mean, it's just easy to use, and I think that's what kind of Honda is gearing their vehicles to be. They want these to be easy to drive. Anybody can own a Honda and just drive it without really thinking much. So I think they've done that. It's a simple car. As far as some basic things like the road noise, wind noise, it's comfortable enough. You know, you don't really hear much. A little bit of tire noise. But again, this is more for off-roading, things like that. So these slightly more aggressive tires are going to obviously give you that. But not a bad option if you're looking for a full-size 3-row SUV. You're not looking to break the bank. It may not be the most refined or most performance-y, sporty vehicle out there, but it's a very utilitarian package, I would say, in general. It gives you everything you need, and it's nice enough to where when you hop in it, you know, it feels like the price point. So there's a full look at the 2025 Honda Pilot, the TrailSport. Definitely a cool way to go if you need that adventure-packed family SUV without breaking the bank. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for plenty more content. And then a big shout out to Flo Honda of Statesville for providing this car for today's video. Take a look at their website, links down below, and I'll see you all in the next video.